Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moments. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Soul Land 3 Legend of the Dragon King Part 49 based on novel. So let's start. Xiexie's response was just as swift. He instantly activated his second soul skill, Light Dragon Storm, and spun like a whirlwind while attacking Tang Wulin. But the blue-silver grass was too quick and tenacious. Each time Xiexie shredded the grass, another wave would overwhelm him a moment later, eroding at the power of his Light Dragon Storm. This isn't good. Xiexie sucked in a deep breath. He descended from the air and launched a second Shadow Dragon Storm. The two skills merged together, increasing its power and speed. He returned to Guu, his speed so fast that he seemed like a phantom. The Light Dragon Storm and the Shadow Dragon Storm combined to make the Twin Dragon Storm. This was Xiexie's greatest accomplishment over the last month. After all, who wouldn't feel pressured to improve in such an environment? Tang Wulin was momentarily stunned. He had believed that his 1,000-year bind could easily restrain Xiexie, but he hadn't expected Xiexie to progress this much. Xiexie landed far away, his complexion pale at the unpleasant oppression he had felt and the massive consumption of soul power by the Twin Dragon Storm. Guu halted her advance. She gave Tang Wulin a thumbs up, an amused smile gracing her face as her eyes glittered. Having known each other for so long now, Tang Wulin naturally understood her intention. She wanted to battle seriously now. Xiexie dashed out from the side. As an agility system soul master, he shouldn't have charged from the front anyway. Meanwhile, Guu waved her arms and summoned an array of elemental attacks that surrounded Tang Wulin from all sides. If it was Tang Wulin's previous self, he would have been hard-pressed to deal with such an assault. But he had changed. His blue-silver grass slithered through the air as it weaved into a large net to shield him from the onslaught of elements. It was a battle of attrition now. Tang Wulin's advantage lay in his 1,000-year spirit soul, which minimized his consumption, while Guu's lay in her elemental tide and her control of the elements, which also had a relatively low consumption rate. Guu gradually gained the upper hand in this battle with her higher cultivate base. After all, the two were a soul master and a soul grandmaster, separated by a whole realm. Yet, Tang Wulin wasn't worried at all. He hadn't forgotten that Guu had no one to protect her. Tang Wulin had completely disregarded Xiexie, who was on the peripheral of the battle, and charged toward Guu. As long as he took out Guu, then Xiexie would be no problem. He hadn't even taken Xu Xiaoyan into consideration. They had never worked together before, and Xu Xiaoyan's strength was a mystery to him, so he had treated the battle as a 1-on-2 from the very beginning. With his 1,000-year blue-silver grass and his intermediate-level spirit connection realm spiritual power, he had infinite possibilities to attack and defend. The sharing ability of blue-silver grass alleviated any fear Tang Wulin had toward Guu's 6-element assault. Of course, his confidence only lasted as long as his soul power did. With such a restriction placed on him, what he needed to do now was use a blitzkrieg strategy. Guu ran backwards to escape from Tang Wulin's charge. Although her speed couldn't compare with Tang Wulin's, each step bought her precious seconds. She threw up her hands and made some complicated hand gestures that formed two balls of light, one cobalt and the other crimson. Waves of unstable power rippled out as the two fused. Guu quickly threw it toward Tang Wulin. Tang Wulin would have directly crashed into the fused elemental ball had he not cultivated the purple demon eyes. Fortunately, he had and could clearly discern how volatile this fusion of ice and fire was. She combined the two opposing elements, fire and ice. Although the fusion was unstable, he couldn't fathom how Guu managed to reach this state in the beginning. Even though the fusion was only temporary, its true power lay in it exploding. Tang Wulin didn't hesitate to command Gold Light to retreat. Gold Light shot into the air, carefully avoiding the ball of ice and fire by gently deflecting it with a wiggle of its tail. At the same time, Tang Wulin saw an alarming violet glint in Guu's eyes. A wave of dizziness struck her as she lost control over the elemental ball. The ball, deflected by Gold Light's tail swipe, flew off to the side towards the bystanders. Tang Wulin took advantage of this opening to close the distance between them and use bind on her. Not only did the purple demon eyes enhance eyesight, it could also send a powerful spiritual attack. Once cultivated to a sufficiently high level, one could kill with just a simple look. With Tang Wulin's talent for purple demon eyes, he had made rapid progress. Though he couldn't kill with a glance yet, he could easily disturb his opponent's mind. In this state, Gu's hands moved too slowly to defend herself. By the time she regained lucidity, Tang Wulin's blue-silver grass was already in front of her. In this moment of crisis, Gu used her strongest element, disappearing in a flash of silver light. This was her control over space. In the next instant, the strands of grass that had swept out grabbed nothing but air. Incredulity spread across Tang Wulin's face. Just when he thought Gu had evaded far away from him, she appeared before him in a flash of light. That was right, she had chosen to teleport right in front of him. She thrusted an azure palm at his chest. Her actions had been too unexpected for Tang Wulin to even process, let alone react to. She had rushed past his net and turned the most dangerous area into the safest area. Against all his expectations, she charged right into his arms. He only had one option now, to retaliate with his golden dragon claw. He was confident that even if he froze over, there was a 50% chance he could hit her back, but there was also a chance that she would immediately crumble apart under his claw. This was the claw that could kill a 1,000-year-old beast. Tang Wulin's subconscious was in a state of chaos. His raised right arm lowered a moment later. She's my comrade. A loss is just a loss. But at that instant, Gu's palm struck a white light that had enveloped Tang Wulin's chest instead. A chill swept out from his chest, repelling Gu's palm. Tang Wulin didn't let this chance slip away. He immediately summoned his blue-silver grass to restrain Gu. Tang Wulin lightly pinched Gu's neck with his claw, interrupting her control over the elements. He looked back at Xu Xiaoyan in astonishment. Her ice staff was raised and pointed in his direction, and her expression the definition of smug. Xie was the most miserable one. He hadn't expected Gu's attack to come flying his way. He had just finished his preparations to break through Tang Wulin's defenses with his twin dragon storm and join Gu in a coordinated attack, but who would have expected that the ball of fire and ice would out of nowhere and explode? The violent blast let Xie experience what was called two heavens of fire and ice. The two elements worked in tandem, the ice freezing Xie while the flame scorched him, a terrifying combination. Had he not quickly reacted by using his light dragon storm to mitigate the majority of the blast, he would have ended up in a far worse condition. Just as he celebrated his survival, an ice wheel slammed into his back out of nowhere. Disbelief spread across his face as his body went rigid and toppled over. Tang Wulin's blue-silver grass trap untangled itself as he released one hand from Gu's neck while supporting her with the other on her waist, thus restoring her mobility. Their bodies were so close that Gu could enjoy Tang Wulin's clean and crisp scent. She could have easily escaped his trap by teleporting, continuing the battle and eventually winning through guerrilla tactics. She chose instead to let him grab her, as only in close combat could she have a chance of defeating him in one strike. The result, however, went against her expectations. She had lost. She and Xie had both lost. The battle might have looked like Tang Wulin was fighting alone against the two of them from start to finish, but, as observers, Wu Zhongkong and Long Hongxiu had clearly seen Xu Xiaoyan's two decisive moves. Her actions had been made at the exact moments needed to turn the tide of battle. This girl's perception and control are pretty good. She supported Tang Wulin excellently. Even compared to her peers, she is excellent. Upon arriving at this conclusion, Wu Zhongkong met eyes with Long Hongxiu and the two exchanged nods of tacit understanding. Long Hongxiu approved of Tang Wulin, while Wu Zhongkong was beginning to approve of Xu Xiaoyan. You took many risks, Tang Wulin said as he released Gu. She snorted. I was just afraid I would hurt you. Otherwise, I would have used even more elements that you can't defend against. Tang Wulin came to a startling realization. That's right. Gu can control many more elements: water, fire, earth, wind, light and even space. Each and every one of them is powerful. Ice is an extension of water, but it's not necessarily her strongest ability. With her control, she could have attacked me with 3 elements at once. I went easy with my golden dragon claw, but wasn't she going easy on me too? An awkward smile tugged at his lips. You're still the most amazing. Gu laughed. You're amazing too? You would have injured me if I didn't restrain you in time. Oh. I know you guys are busy admiring each other, but can you spare some time to help your good friend off the floor? Xiexie's painful groans interrupted their exchange. He painstakingly crawled back to his feet with an irritated expression. Only Xu Xiaoyan was nice enough to walk over and help him up. Xiexie looked at her and rolled his eyes. Is slicing me up that fun? Xu Xiaoyan giggled and revealed a harmless, toothy smile. The other 2 students walked over. Tang Wulin extended a hand to Xu Xiaoyan. Welcome to Class 0. Xu Xiaoyan accepted the handshake. Thank you, Class Captain. You guys are too awesome though. The only thing I could do was look for opportunities to aid you. Her words were not exaggerated. As soon as the battle began, she found that the most she could do was just stand there foolishly. These guys, are they really monsters? How is this Tang Wulin soul ring at the 1000-year level? Isn't the limit for the first soul ring about 400 years? Even if he used some heavenly treasures, there's no way he could upgrade it to the 1000-year level. Only at 3 rings do people begin to have 1000-year soul rings. Xiexie's swiftness and Gu's control over 6 elements also instilled an equally deep shock. She felt utterly insignificant in front of these 3 monsters. But she had keen observation skills and hadn't acted blindly, waiting instead for the right opportunity to act. She knew she couldn't even hope to compare with this trio during the day, so she had to do her best to at least leave a good impression by grabbing any chance she got to display her strength. Opportunities would always come to those who were well prepared. Her success served to prove this statement. 2 one-ringed soul masters had prevailed over 2 two-ringed soul grandmasters. The very notion of this coming to pass was inconceivable, yet they had accomplished it. Long Hongshu walked over to Wu Zhongkong. Now I have more confidence in your class. I'm sure I can persuade the president to increase your resources. Teacher Wu, is there anything you need? Wu Zhongkong said, the children could use more nutritious food. Nutrients are very important at their age. The martial soul is an extension of the body, it needs to be properly nourished. Long Hongshu forced a smile. That wouldn't be an issue if they all had normal appetites, but Tang Wulin is just a glutton. He can clean out all the food the first window makes. Wu Zhongkong indifferently said, you've seen his strength and his 1000-year soul ring, do you think they just appeared out of thin air? That he can grow so strong just from eating is amazing in and of itself. I guess there's some sense to that, Long Hongshu muttered. Wu Zhongkong added, East Sea City is rich in many kinds of seafood, of which some are highly nourishing sacred foods. Get some for the children. They need sturdy foundations to grow. Long Hongshu nodded reluctantly. I'll tell the president. Teacher Wu, keep in mind that the president is facing a lot of pressure because of Class 0. Just counting the cost for admittance to the Spirit Ascension platform, the amount of resources invested into Class 0 is enormous. Thankfully, things have been successful so far. You even managed to train a monster like Tang Wulin. What the Academy truly desires, however, is glory. You understand, right? The Academy wants your students to participate in the Sky Sea Alliance tournament. You should prepare for it. Even if they don't place too high, they need to at least amaze people and win the Academy some fame. The goal is to have them win the Outstanding Newcomer Award or the Outstanding Newcomer Group Award. The Sky Sea Alliance tournament? Wu Zhongkong's eyes flashed with comprehension and he nodded without the slightest hesitation. I have no problems with fulfilling their request. Long Hongshu stared at Wu Zhongkong in surprise. He had assumed Wu Zhongkong would refuse since the children were only 10 years old, yet he had readily accepted. You agree? Wu Zhongkong said, the best method to temper someone is through real combat. So far, they've only focused their energy on cultivating and they lack combat experience. This is a good opportunity to fix that issue. Excellent. I was worried you might not agree. I will immediately report this matter. I can guarantee you, until the Sky Sea Alliance tournament starts, your meals won't be lacking even when compared to those at the Shrek Academy. This time, the Academy is going to spend all of its capital. Good. All of you, come here. Wu Zhongkong stepped onto the arena and beckoned to the children. The 4 students quickly ran over. Wu Zhongkong nodded and turned to Tang Wulin. You still need to practice more. There were too many holes in your defenses. Yes, Teacher Wu. Tang Wulin couldn't contain his excitement. Now that his soul ring was at the 1000-year level, his combat strength and control precision had skyrocketed. He believed that after breaking the second Golden Dragon King seal, his blue-silver grass would evolve once more and receive another huge power-up. Wu Zhongkong turned to Gu. You were a bit unfocused. You should be stronger than that. Gu lowered her head and said quietly, but we're teammates, not enemies. Wu Zhongkong said, you've progressed quickly. Continue striving hard to improve. As for you. He turned to Xie. You'll have to put in more effort if you want to keep up with them. The corner of Xie's mouth began to twitch. I really can't catch a break. Or is it just that Wulin and Gu improved too quickly? Wu Zhongkong finally turned to Xu Xiaoyan. You have some ability. Just remember that you only have 1 month to prove yourself. All right, you're dismissed for the day. Tomorrow, we'll start training. I will be your opponent for 3 fights every day. Yes, Tang Wulin, Gu and Xie said with bitter faces. Meanwhile, Xu Xiaoyan couldn't contain her excitement and eagerness towards the following day. I heard this ruthless and handsome Teacher Wu is really strong. I wonder just how strong he is though? I will be using my soul skills. Wu Zhongkong left after speaking these shocking words, his white robe fluttering in the breeze. Su soul skill? Xie stammered. Did I hear that right? Just who is Teacher Wu? Why does he need to use soul skills against us? Did he make some mistake? Tang Wulin gaped in disbelief. He had personally witnessed the might of Wu Zhongkong's soul skills and knew that even if he suppressed his cultivation to their rank while only using frost scars and frost mist, it was more than enough to slaughter them. It seems like we need to start studying tactics properly, Tang Wulin said earnestly. Let's go, we'll plan in our room, Xie replied. To them, Wu Zhongkong was a Goliath that they had to face. At that moment, Tang Wulin's soul communicator rang. Glancing at the caller ID, he saw that it read, Teacher, and immediately knew who was calling. Wulin, come see me as soon as you're free. I have something to talk to you about. Mu Chen's voice was lower, different from his usual calm self. Yes. Teacher, I'm free at the moment so I'll go right away. Although Tang Wulin didn't know what the matter was, Mu Chen had always treated him well. He naturally had to show respect in return. Amen. I'll be waiting. Tang Wulin hung up and turned to his friends. I need to pay a visit to the Blacksmiths Association. You guys go ahead and talk without me. Just update me when I return. However, I'll give you a rundown of Teacher Wu's soul skills first. We will most likely be facing his first soul skill, Frost Scar, and his second soul skill, Frost Mist. Tang Wulin continued to explain what he had observed of Wu Zhongkong's first 2 soul skills. By the time he left for the Blacksmiths Association in a hurry, everyone was still gaping in shock at the tales of their teacher's power. Tang Wulin discovered that there were other people there as well when he arrived at Mu Chen's office. Apart from Mu Chen, Center Yu and Mu Shi were also present. Mu Shi had clearly rushed over as soon as the ceremony had finished. Teacher? Tang Wulin bowed to Mu Chen. Amen. Take a seat. Mu Chen pointed to the 2-seater sofa in front of his desk. Center Yu was already sitting in one of its spots, and Mu Shi stood at Mu Chen's side. This pampered girl stared at Tang Wulin with an odd expression that she had never shown him before. When Tang Wulin sat down, he discovered a familiar object on the desk. It was a cerulean metal with irregular, lifelike veins running through it. Depending on the angle from which one looked at it, the lines would take on a completely different appearance. It was the rare metal, blue coppertite. It had a powerful innate ability to amplify soul power, but its internal composition was highly complex and wrought with numerous impurities. Only after being thousand refined could it be used to make goods. Tang Wulin only needed a single glance to recognize that he had thousand refined this chunk himself. After all, to thousand refine, a blacksmith had to grow extremely familiar with the item and treat it as if it were their own child. Do you recognize this? Mu Chen said with a frown. Yes, I do. Tang Wulin shot up from his seat and stood straight as a pillar. Teacher, did I do something wrong? Senta Yu awkwardly smiled at Tang Wulin. No, it's not that you did something wrong, but you did something too well. Did you know that you're quickly approaching your teacher's level? Huh? Tang Wulin gave Senta Yu a blank stare. Mu Chen said, tell me what the characteristics of blue coppertite are. Tang Wulin quickly answered, blue coppertite is a type of copper alloy that is composed of 30% copper, a trace of coppertite, and a variety of other trace elements. Coppertite is a special compound and the origin of the metal's name. It's an excellent conductor of soul power and is even called a soul power amplifier. Soul masters usually choose this metal when building their battle armors, but since it has numerous impurities and a complex internal structure, it is extremely difficult to forge. It cannot be properly 100 refined and instead needs the 1000 refinement to purify it. Only when the properties of blue coppertite have been stabilized and condensed can it be considered completely 1000 refined. Its value. That's enough, Mu Chen interrupted him. Not only have we verified that this is the blue coppertite you forged, we've also determined that it's at the peak of the second grade. In other words, it's only one step away from being a first-grade metal. Do you understand what this means? Tang Wulin mumbled, more money? Senta Yu burst into laughter. Mu Shi helplessly said, do you only have eyes for money? Mu Chen shot a glance of annoyance at his daughter, warning her not to say anything else. Tang Wulin sunk into thought. Is it bad if I'm focused on money? Blacksmithing is currently the only way I have to make money, and who knows how much I'll need in the future. This means that you are on the verge of spirit refinement. Mu Chen's words startled Tang Wulin out of his thoughts of self-doubt. On the verge of spirit refinement? Dazed, Tang Wulin raised his head to look at his teacher. In a deep baritone, Mu Chen said, 1000 refinement is also known as half-spirit refinement. This is because, at that point, blacksmiths are able to breathe life and spirit into metal which they can then shape according to their will, improving the quality of the final product. Second-grade blue coppertite can amplify the power of a battle armor part by 110%, while first-grade blue coppertite can amplify it by 112%. If it were spirit refined, it would amplify the power of a battle armor part by 115%. This is why anyone in the blacksmithing world who can produce a first-grade metal is only a step away from becoming a spirit blacksmith. I inspected the metals you handed in to complete your tasks, and most of them were of the second grade. This means you're already a 4th-rank blacksmith. 4th rank? These two words finally made Tang Wulin realize the significance of his second-grade products. According to the Blacksmiths Association's regulations, one needed to be able to 1000 refine and shape 2 metals in a row to become a 4th-rank blacksmith. Yet Mu Chen said that he was already a 4th-rank blacksmith since he could forge second-grade metals. This was the first time he had heard of something like this. Do you find this strange? What I'm saying is different from the association's regulations, right? Mu Chen asked. Amen. It's a bit strange. I haven't even tried forging a mecha component yet, Tang Wulin probed. Mu Chen sighed. The association doesn't have this in writing because very few people are able to forge second-rank metals before becoming a 4th-rank blacksmith, not to mention you who has a success rate of over 50%. My original plan was to have you rest during this time as it might help with your comprehension, but you're just too amazing. You've really surprised all of us and made major progress. According to the unwritten rules of the blacksmithing world, Just having a 20% success rate in forging second-grade metal makes someone worthy of becoming a fourth-rank blacksmith. In light of this, congratulations. Fourth rank? That means I can accept even harder tasks that will bring in twice as much money. If I can reach spirit refinement, then the money will more than just double. Tang Wulin's eyes began to shine. Isn't this little money grubber only imagining how much money he can make now? The gentle voice sounded off to the side. Amen, Tang Wulin unwittingly grunted in agreement, but a strange feeling came over him soon afterward. He saw that Mushi was standing at his side, clearly harboring some evil plans for him. Mushi let out a disdainful laugh. Dad, just look at how immature your disciple is. All he knows is money. He doesn't even have a dream. Be quiet, Mu Chen said in displeasure. You've always been given what you wanted, but him? If he didn't need money to live, would he have to care about it at such a young age? Wulin, just ignore her. There's nothing wrong with wanting money. We're a business after all, and a business is all about money. It's good that you're currently saving money. It'll help when you are able to spirit refine. Huh? Does spirit refining cost money? Tang Wulin stared at Mu Chen in shock. Mu Chen nodded. The rarer the metal is, the easier it is for a blacksmith to spirit refine it. You have to buy your own metal when the time comes because if you fail to spirit refine it, the metal would become worthless. It wouldn't be suitable to be handed in for tasks since the value would be too low. Considering your talent, the association will gift you some metal at that time, but you'll still need to buy a lot of it yourself. Every blacksmith suffers when it's time for them to attempt spirit refinement. Senta Yu laughed mischievously. It's not just suffering. It took me 5 years to pay off my debt and Mang Qian still hasn't finished paying his yet. Why else do you think he accepts so many tasks? Tang Wulin swallowed his saliva. Teacher Mang Qian still hasn't repaid his debt? Just how much does he still have? Mu Chen shook his head. All right, let's not talk about such things just yet. I called you here today for 2 things. The first was to confirm your status as a 4th-rank blacksmith. You need 2,000 refined 2 metals in a row and submit it. If one of them is a 2nd-rank product, we can end your test there and officially make you a 4th-rank blacksmith. Yes? Thank you, teacher. In the end, Tang Wulin was still a child. Although the potential cost of spirit refinement made him anxious, he could easily distract his mind from a matter that was so far in the future. He remembered that spirit refinement wasn't just a forging technique, it required one to have at least 3 soul rings to succeed. Considering this, Tang Wulin had plenty of time until he gained his 3rd ring. Mu Chen said, "You've earned 4th rank status much faster than I expected, so I want you to broaden your horizons now. In the near future, the 5 great eastern coastal cities will be holding the Sky Sea Alliance tournament, a grand tournament that is held once every 3 years. There are competitions for everyone, mecha masters, battle armor masters, soul masters, blacksmiths, mecha craftsmen, mecha designers, mechanics, and so on. The events are divided according to age. There is a division for those aged 15 and under, a division for youths aged 15 to 20, and a division for adults aged 20 to 30. Anything beyond that is too old. I plan to have you and Mushi represent East Sea Blacksmith Association in the blacksmith competition for those aged 15 and below. The Sky Sea Alliance Tournament? The name of the tournament itself piqued Tang Wulin's interest. Teacher, will I be competing with young blacksmiths from other cities at this tournament? Mu Chen nodded. That's correct. You only have one objective, to come back as the champion. I'm convinced that there aren't any blacksmiths in the 15 and under division that will be more remarkable than you. Don't you want to earn money? This is a good opportunity to do that. The champion's prize is 3 million federal coins. In addition, the association will award you with 10 chunks of rare metals if you win. That should save you plenty of money when you attempt spirit refinement. The chunks of rare metal that Mu Chen mentioned had dimensions of approximately 1/3 of a meter on each side. Okay, I'll listen to you. Tang Wulin was already eager for the tournament. Teacher Mu Chen said it would be easy for me to win the championship and win a lot of money. At the very least, it'll be enough to pay Teacher Wu back. Mu Chen nodded. The Sky Sea Alliance tournament is hosted by the 5 great eastern coastal cities. As a result, it is also called the Grand Banquet of the Sea and the Sky. I'm absolutely certain that you will shine brilliantly and bring glory to our East Sea Blacksmiths Association. Yes, teacher. Mu Shi pouted. Dad, I could do that even if we didn't have him. Mu Chen shot her a glance. You think you can win? Even if you're a genius, all your competitors will also be geniuses. With Wu Lin here, victory is certain. You only need to work hard and prepare to attempt the 1,000 refinements. This time, the minimum requirement to participate is middle grade 100 refined. They will assess you more carefully after you meet this requirement. The Grand Banquet of the Sky and the Sea, the Sky Sea Alliance Tournament. Tang Wulin carved these words into his heart. Let's conduct your test then, Wulin. Mu Shi, you come along too. You can watch and learn from Wulin. Strangely enough, Mu Shi didn't put up as much of a fight this time. She simply gave her father a cute nod. Only 4 people were present in the forging room, Tang Wulin, Mu Chen, Mu Shi, and Center Yu. Mu Chen personally selected 2 metals for Tang Wulin to forge, one of which was blue coppertite. Mu Chen's astonishment regarding Tang Wulin's accomplishment could be attributed to 2 things. One was the sheer difficulty of 1,000 refining blue coppertite to the 2nd grade. It was even harder than forging a 1st grade product using an ordinary metal. The second was the speed of Tang Wulin's development. It was so fast that the only thing holding him back was his soul power. Tang Wulin currently only had a single ring, but Mu Chen was sure that he would reach spirit refinement within 3 years if he had 3 rings. Soul power, however, was extremely hard to increase. There was nothing he could do unless he spoiled things by getting ahead of himself. The more that Tang Wulin's talent revealed itself, the more Mu Chen hesitated to give him any heavenly treasures that would boost his cultivation. Mu Chen didn't want Tang Wulin's foundation to be unstable, it would damage his future prospects. What was strength? What Tang Wulin currently displayed was strength. Tang Wulin's talent for forging was something that even a first-rate genius like Mu Chen could only spend his whole life looking up to. The forging began. 3 crisp tones echoed through the air when Tang Wulin lightly tapped the blue coppertite. The stacked hammer's effect was occurring in full force. Tang Wulin's ear twitched slightly and a violet shimmer appeared in his eyes. Without a doubt, blue coppertite was extremely difficult to forge. When he had previously forged blue coppertite, there were countless times during the process where he was forced to use purple demon eyes to prevent failing. The pattern that ran along the surface of the blue coppertite transformed, rippling with each strike of Tang Wulin's hammer. This was the reason why blue coppertite was so hard to forge. Its internal structure constantly changed under the pressure of 1,000 refinements. A single incorrect strike could turn it into a lump of trash. There was no hesitation in Tang Wulin's movements. The moment one arm rose, the other fell, resolutely pounding the metal unceasingly. Center Yu's eyebrows leaped upward. So quickly? Doesn't he need to examine it? Even if he were the one forging the blue coppertite, a 6th-rank blacksmith like him would need at least 3 minutes to inspect the metal before he could begin hammering. And yet, Tang Wulin never even paused. The intensity of Tang Wulin's strikes continued to grow. His hammers hurtled through the air as if their several hundred kilograms of weight was the same as a straw of rice. One after another the hammers descended upon the metal like a storm. With the stacked hammers effect, a bizarre rhythm similar to that of rain falling upon a forest of banana trees began to resonate throughout the room. It was as if a multitude of blacksmiths were all working in harmony. Mu Shi's attitude toward Tang Wulin had changed significantly because of Tang Wulin's strength. When one person competed with another and there was a gap in strength, jealousy would appear. However, once that gap grew large enough, that jealousy would quickly disappear. Mu Shi had yet to become a 3rd-rank blacksmith because she was still struggling with 1,000 refinements, yet Tang Wulin was already a 4th-rank blacksmith. Such a gap couldn't be closed in only a few days. When she saw Tang Wulin's 2nd-grade blue coppertite, the way she viewed him completely changed. She no longer saw him as just a rival and could see his other strengths now. When she saw him today, the first thing that came to mind wasn't, "It's this annoying guy again." She actually thought, this guy is kind of handsome. Such a subtle psychological change went unnoticed by Mu Shi. Even if she did realize this change, she would never admit it. Mu Chen's eyes were electric as he stared at that chunk of blue coppertite. He discovered that although Tang Wulin's strikes were swift, they also hit the exact center of the blue coppertite's ripples. Tang Wulin took advantage of the stacked hammer's effect to withhold the strength of his strike such that the force would be just enough. He had complete control over this chunk of blue coppertite. A moment later, Mu Chen noticed the purple glow of Tang Wulin's eyes. That looks like... If it really is that, it would explain a lot. The clock slowly ticked by. It was normal for the 1,000 refinements to take a few hours, but the relentless storm of Tang Wulin's twin hammers had already reduced the blue coppertite to 1/3 of its original size in only a quarter of an hour. Its blue hue grew brighter and brighter while the ripples on its surface began to slow down and stabilize. Is almost done? So fast. The stacked hammer's effect may have helped Tang Wulin, but it was his strength, judgment, and understanding of the metal that allowed him to finish so quickly. Having already become one with his hammers, Tang Wulin's concentration could not be broken. Surprisingly enough, he was actually beginning to resemble his hammers. Bang bang bang. The final hammer strike descended, and an azure halo that was 1/3 of a meter in diameter burst from the blue coppertite, fusing back into the metal a moment later and disappearing. A halo emerged. Center Yu cried. Only metals at the 2nd grade and above could release a halo. Furthermore, the appearance of a halo signified the degree to which spirit was imbued into the metal. This was the origin of the name, half-spirit refinement. That halo just now wasn't an ordinary 2nd grade halo. Center Yu wiped cold sweat from his forehead. Did this boy just forge a 1st grade metal? Is he trying to astonish us even more? Mu Chen's eyes lit up. He raised one hand to stop Tang Wulin and used his other to grab the metal. You don't need to do anything else. We're ending the test here. You've succeeded at 1,000 refining a 2nd grade blue coppertite and officially passed the 4th rank test. Since Tang Wulin could forge a 2nd grade blue coppertite, they didn't even need to check if he could do the same with lesser metals. It isn't of the 1st grade? Center Yu asked Mu Chen. Mu Chen shook his head. It falls a bit short, but it's nearly there. You'll make a lot of money off of this blue coppertite the next time you accept some tasks. Go back and prepare for the grand banquet of the sea and sky. It begins in 1 month. But, teacher, don't I still need to attend class? Tang Wulin asked. Mu Chen said, you don't need to worry, the association will help you take care of that. You need to spend the remaining time forging. I'll continue to teach you once a week. It seems like I need to start teaching you the technique needed to forge 1st grade metals. Tang Wulin smiled. Yes, thank you, teacher. I'll go with you. Mu Shi took the initiative to accompany him back to the academy. After the two left the Blacksmiths Association, Mu Shi suddenly pinched Tang Wulin's cheek. Oh. Senior disciple sister, what are you doing? Tang Wulin complained. Mu Shi snorted. I'm checking if you're even human. Isn't everyone supposed to be equal? You don't have another face, so how are you able to progress so quickly? Senior disciple sister, I don't have a 2nd face, Tang Wulin said in embarrassment. Mu Shi suddenly became all smiles. I know. Can I talk to you about something? If no one ends up being better than me at the Sky Sea Alliance tournament, can you let me win? I'll give you the prize money too, and then you'll have the money for both 1st and 2nd places. I'll even give you the medals that are awarded as well. How about it? Tang Wulin stared at her in a daze. Okay. Okay? Mu Shi thought she misheard him. He agreed so easily? Hey, do you even understand the significance of the Sky Sea Alliance tournament? How can you agree so easily? Tang Wulin said, it's just fame. The difference between 1st and 2nd place can't be that large anyway. If I can earn more money by giving up first place for second place, then I'm all for it. I'm convinced now, you really only think about money. Mushi smacked the top of his head lightly. I'm just joking with you. If I stole first place from you, Dad would kill me. A trace of a smile appeared on Tang Wulin's lips. Teacher wouldn't do that. He actually looks at you with doting eyes. I'm serious, senior disciple sister. If no one is better than you, I'll give you first place. I'll be taking that prize money though. Tang Wulin's earnest insistence left Mushi in a daze. I don't want you to do this for my dad. With her intelligence, she immediately realized what Tang Wulin intended. He was doing a favor to Mu Chen. Tang Wulin shook his head. It's not what you're thinking. Teacher once said that the tallest tree in the forest will be ravaged by the wind. I'm still very young, so what do you think would happen if I reveal that I'm already a fourth-rank blacksmith? I'm still a long ways from 3 rings and spirit refinement, so what does first place even mean to me? If I just take second place, then I can keep a low profile while earning some money. Mushi curiously asked, can you tell me why you need so much money? Tang Wulin forced out a bitter smile. My cultivation path is a bit different from other people. I need a lot of heavenly treasures to continue evolving my martial soul. My strength comes from that evolution. You know that my martial soul is blue-silver grass. Take a look. Tang Wulin raised his right hand and summoned his golden scales. The sight of the golden scales left Mushi speechless. She slowly raised a finger and tapped on the scales, creating a sharp metallic tone. This is why you're in class 0? This is the source of your strength? Mushi asked in disbelief. Tang Wulin nodded. Aren't you afraid I'll tell my dad? Mushi asked suspiciously. I don't intend to hide this from teacher. Tang Wulin said. Forget about it, then. Mushi nodded at Tang Wulin's answer in satisfaction. I'll look out for you in the academy from now on. If anyone dares bully you, just tell me their name. Tang Wulin didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Senior disciple sister, what are you saying? I don't get into fights anyway. You don't get into fights? Who was it that sent his roommates flying out of their second-floor window on the first day, HM? I can't seem to remember. Me? Oh, right, do you like Zishin? Mushi asked suddenly. Tang Wulin was blindsided by this question, and his face immediately went beet red before he waved his arms in denial. And no. No, I don't. I don't. Ha ha ha. Look at how flustered you are. Aren't you usually super calm? I understand. You're confused about the matters of the heart and are trying to deny it, but it's clear that you like her. Just what are you learning at such a young age? Mushi pinched his face over and over. Tang Wulin was distressed. I really don't. Senior Sister Zishin is just a really nice person, and we frequently run into each other during our morning jogs. Even if I did like her, it would be because she's so pretty and gentle. I can appreciate those qualities, you know. Don't go having any weird thoughts. Mushi raised her eyebrows. So you're saying that I'm not pretty or gentle enough for you to like, and you don't appreciate me? Tang Wulin was still a 10-year-old child, so how could he hope to win an argument against a developing young lady? Mushi was 14 years old this year and was far more mature than him. Aye, Tang Wulin gawked at her, speechless. Isn't that right though? You're not gentle at all. Tang Wulin had to admit Wuxi was pretty, but he would never say so out loud. After pinching Tang Wulin's face a bit more, Mushi was satisfied. Bullying him is even more fun than being cold to him. Her mouth curled into a wicked smile. They soon arrived at the academy and Tang Wulin let out a sigh. He flew back to his dorm while rubbing his aching cheeks, the sound of Mushi's witch-like cackling chasing after him. The Sky Sea Alliance tournament? Tang Wulin mentioned the tournament during lunch and immediately caught Xie Xie's ear. He hadn't realized just how much Xie Xie knew about the tournament. This video will end here.